The real scandal is the regulations that are perfectly legal, that might be overdone or overwrought or insufficiently flexible or applied in a ham-handed manner. The fact is, Congress has delegated vast amounts of authority onto agencies to adopt regulations, and the vast majority of regulations on the books are squarely within agencies' authority, indeed are things that Congress wanted it to do. So the problem here is not that there are a bunch of illegal regulations. The problem, I think, is more that there are a bunch of regulations that they don't like. But getting rid of regulations you don't like requires you to go through a rulemaking process. And we all know from State Farm that that process requires you to justify a rescission of an old rule in the same way that you justify the adoption of an old rule. And that means you're going through the same cumbersome notice and comment process that all administrations struggle with, both to adopt and to rescind old rules. The other thing that's weird about their perspective about regulatory reform is that they seem to think that Loper-Bright and Major Questions doctrine give them new powers to kind of like sweep stuff off out of the Federal Register. But the opposite's the case. Both of those cases stand for the proposition that the courts are going to take a more assertive role in superintending what agencies do. That limits agency discretion. And that limit on agency discretion is going to make it harder for agencies to regulate, but it's also going to make it harder for agencies to deregulate, at least sometimes. So their mental model about regulatory reform seems to me off. And unless they've got some way to streamline the notice and comment process, which we should absolutely be looking to do, I think an 18-month time frame to achieve meaningful regulatory reform is extremely ambitious and very unlikely to be met.